Welcome to Duke's United show, and I should be back up in the top left corner. And yes, it is that time again. It's Let's Talk United time. It's the weekly show, and we are packed once again with Garth, Alex, and Hakeem to join us to talk about all of the latest Man United news. It's been a long time coming, guys. All World Cup news, all World Cup talk, all England talk, but now it's back to United. I've already had my chat with Garth. Alex, how are you feeling after us finally getting back into the groove again?
I'm excited, but I actually missed the World Cup. I'm not going to lie. I missed the thrill of just watching all the different countries play against each other, the shocks, just the players. I'm missing it. But back to domestic football, I'm literally itching to just get the Premier League back underway and just kick off Boxing Day with a load of games. So yeah, I'm excited.
Good. Hakeem, you as well. Haven't seen you in a while. But how are you feeling about the game? Did you watch the game yesterday? How did it feel to be back watching domestic football once again?
I didn't have, I was out and about, but I did catch the last I think it was 15, 20 minutes of it. So yeah, very excited. Just seeing that red shirt, seeing some people putting in some decent.
Your sound's gone, mate. What's happening? Your sound card's finished, mate.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think someone rang. Let me just turn my phone off. I think someone was ringing on my phone.
Yeah, sound's gone again. Garth. I know.
Yes, mate.
Let's wait for that to come back in a bit. How you doing, Garth?
Yeah, good, man. Yeah, like I said earlier, yeah. I won't lie, it's club well over international for me. Always has been, always will be. As great as the World Cup was, there's nothing like watching Man United for me. So nothing comes close to it, especially as an England fan. Dear, oh dear. So,
you know what, Garth, you know what? I totally agree there. But one thing I've got to say is that World Cup final was something special.
Oh, yeah. Like we said, yeah. That was exceptional.
Absolutely amazing. The last, 25 minutes to go, and then the extra time and everything.
That bit.
The first half and all that, but yeah, it was great stuff. It was absolutely end to end. We didn't see that coming at all. None of us saw that coming. It was the best game of football I've seen in terms of excitement and dramaticness. It was top notch.
Until Mbappe took it by the scruff of the collar, all of us were like, "Well, this game's dead. France are done. They're not coming back from this." And then the geezer just decided to electrify the place. Fair play.
What's it saying? If you know who
was playing France.
Hey, Nat, you've got to put some commas in there, mate, and tell me what you're talking about. I can't work that one out.
No idea what that means.
I was going to say, you can't ever discount Mbappe, though. I just feel like something would have come, even if it was one goal. I felt like it was going to come. He's just that kind of player, so yeah.
We know that. He's the man, and he's the man we want in this club as well. But let's talk about it another time. But you know what? The first topic of today is actually about Mr. Martinez. And I got a nice little thing here. Martinez wins the World Cup. Souness and Carragher in the mud. Reason why is because look what Souness says. He's not particularly special at anything. He will get found out in the Premier League. I think he just found the World Cup, mate. So be quiet. And also Carragher talking his nonsense. We should never judge managers or players too early. But I'm convinced this can't work. Because the size of him playing at a back four, maybe he could go at left back. Maybe he could play in a three, but in a back four, he cannot play there in the Premier League. Is he talking nonsense there, Alex, or what? Are they talking nonsense or what?
Oh, he's 100% talking nonsense. I mean, it's just, honestly, I just don't really take what Souness says with any kind of, I don't know, I don't look into anything he says anyway. I think that, because I know that Martinez, he played as a DM, didn't he? So he's got that kind of quality, but then he's been really immense for us as a centre-back pairing with Varane. So I feel like he's more than proved himself. I guess what he's trying to say is that he's going to get found out, he's new to the Prem. So sometimes, when you get new players that come in, it's like the opposition doesn't know how to figure them out. Once they figure them out, then they kind of learn. But I don't know if you can hold him to that, because I feel like even if they do learn about him, he's still such an amazing player. So I feel like, I don't ever take anything that Souness says to heart, because I think he just chats nonsense.
Good. And look, Martinez, I know he didn't play all the games. Otamendi somehow got ahead of him. But Hakeem, You know, what do you think of Martinez winning that World Cup? Is he kind of rubbing it in a few people's faces, or is it kind of semi-rubbing it in a few people's faces because he didn't really play as much? What did you see into that?
I mean, I think he's rubbing it in people's faces in terms of his league form, in my opinion. Every time he plays, he's blocking them out. You know, he's playing against top quality strikers, and they're not getting it. They're not getting a sniff. So, as Alex said, you know, I like Luke Souness as a player, but as a pundit, he's probably one of the worst. He's just like a grumpy old man. He's just like I've just no idea what he's talking about because you know, yes, he's small, so you'd assume that he's not going to be great at the back, but he's been absolutely phenomenal. I can't remember. I saw some stats that he's got some of the best heading stats in the league. So that would say to me it's just pure nonsense, and he doesn't get caught out. I've not seen any game really, apart from maybe the first couple of ways getting used to the league, where you thought, oh, he's a bit unsettled. And you know, in terms of getting found out, I've only ever seen players start poorly and then get better. I've never seen players start as well as he has and then all of a sudden fall off a cliff. So I think Souness and Carragher are just talking absolute nonsense.
Thank you. Garth, what have you got to say on this matter? Because he's gone and won the World Cup now. I know it's not always, you know, a lot of people put players getting on the mantle if they win the World Cup, even if they're not as you know, in the game as much and playing as often. So a lot of people put too much importance on it. But do you think it's like something that's added to his credibility, or do you think he's already got it there anyway?
I don't listen. I know you tried to caveat it. He didn't play at all in this World Cup period, so I don't think we can be like there's no performances there or anything. He was part of the squad. That's fair play. He's a World Cup winner now all day, but he literally barely played a minute. Like me and the team were talking about it. Is this a Maguire thing where Otamendi's just getting picked because they trust him? It looks like it is, especially in that final, because Otamendi got twisted at points. But yeah, listen, I was one of the same. I don't know when Souness and Carragher said this. I was very similar. You know what I was like to start with. I didn't think a 5'9" centre back could work in the Premier League. I really didn't. He's proven me wrong. He's proven everyone wrong. And Souness and Carragher just need to shut up about it because exactly what Hakeem says. He's got the best heading stats in the league. He's got some of the best tackle stats in the league. He's absolutely awesome for us. As I said, I do think as Man United fans we might be getting a little overhype on him. I need to come back to me at the end of the season, you know what I mean? Once I've seen it. But listen, he ain't put a foot wrong. You know, apart from the first two games where obviously it was a culture shock for him, he's been amazing. So yeah, Souness in particular just says stuff. It's the TalkSport model, isn't it? He just says stuff to get people to ring in and get upset with him, you know what I mean? I swear that's what he does now. So, but yeah, no, they're talking nonsense.
Yeah. So for me, look, when you're looking at a defender, he's exactly what you want. You want him to be tenacious. You want him to be hard in the tackle. You want him to be no nonsense. He's all of that. But not only that, the thing that stands out most for me is when he's on the ball, when he plays them balls, it's the timing of the balls, the crispness of the balls. It's like he's a general at the back. He knows exactly what he's got to do. And Casemiro does exactly that in midfield. And Casemiro did exactly that at the back yesterday. He's come into the back four and just thought, right, you need to get that ball quick. Yep, you need it there. You need it over there. Yep, you need it there. Yep. He just did everything he needs to do. And it's like they know their game inside out. They got the playbook. They got every single playbook in their brain. It's already there. And that's what I like about Martinez. He's going to get beaten every now and again because players are going to be better than him. But he's going to do his job, what he's good at, and always do what it says on the tin. And that's why I think he's a top defender. He's not like a world class if you talk about, you know, someone who you come one-on-one against and you go, all right, no one's stopping him. No one's getting past him. It's not like that. But in terms of all the other side, he does have a lot of qualities in abundance. So where Souness was saying, I don't see nothing good in him, I'm just thinking, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what about his passing? He's not particularly good at pass. He's not particularly... I'm like, okay, if he's not particularly... Please tell me someone who is, so then we can see what you're talking about. But I really like to see that. So that was one of the things. But secondly, when we've come back now, we were talking before about the De Gea situation, about him obviously hoping to get a contract because he's been playing a bit better. I did make a little thing on this. I've said, look, I know that apparently Ten Hag said, you've done well, but let's see how it goes. And De Gea said back to him, I know what that means, Gaffer. Who you after, mate? Who you going for? Who you looking at? Which goalkeeper you're really after? Because, you know, when that gets said, he's not gonna be in. He's not going to be getting a new contract anytime soon. He's got his eyes on someone, and I'm sure, Alex, you mentioned somebody. Please tell me what you think about that.
It's just a tough one because the person that I like, Diogo Costa, he didn't really have a great World Cup, but he's been really immense for Porto. So it's kind of like, it's really like confused me a little bit. And then looking at the other goalkeepers that I was interested in, like Unai Simon, he didn't really have a World Cup either. So I'm just like, who is there? Unless you're going to look at like Martinez, is he going to? Is he going to stay at Villa? Do we want that type of player at United? I mean, you can shake your head and say no, but at the same time, you have to think like that would kind of be good for us to have that sort of strength. Do you ever have, like, I mean, I'm not going to like compare with Peter Schmeichel, but Peter Schmeichel was really good at saving, and he was such an immense goalkeeper. I feel like it kind of gives me that similar vibe. I can understand why they're thinking about De Gea's contract, because he's been in the club for a very long time, and I think the direction that we want to go in is somewhere new, like how we want to look for a striker who's younger, etc. I think that we do need to think about the future, and I don't know how long De Gea can really go on for. I mean, he's having a really phenomenal season so far already. I think that he's been really great. But in terms of looking for a new goalkeeper, I just don't know. Like, because now I'm so confused. Diogo Costa's upset me. I don't know who we can pick.
It is a tough one. I can't think of who it is, but I know Ten Hag he's got someone on his list. Look, Hakeem, what are you thinking on this one? Do you think he should get a contract? Do you think we should be looking somewhere else? Do you think Ten Hag is looking somewhere else? What's on your mind?
I'd have thought he is, because as Alex said, he's been there a long time. He's been a good servant for the club. But I think the direction, the way Ten Hag plays, is similar to when Pep came in there and he brought in Bravo. He can't kick.
He took Hart out.
Yeah, exactly. He took Hart out and brought Bravo in. But the problem was Bravo could kick, but he couldn't save anything, could he? Whereas and I think De Gea is a quality shot stopper on his day. But my concern always with De Gea is he always, even when he's playing brilliantly, he looks very nervous on crosses, and he just really can't kick the ball. And I can't remember what that nursery rhyme is. It's like when he's good, he's very, very good, but when he's bad, he's awful. Because the seasons he goes through, and he's like, was it 4 seasons ago when we lost Chelsea in the FA Cup? He actually loses games like just by throwing the ball in the back of the net when he does it. So when he's good, he's brilliant, and and he's really good at shot stopping. But as an all-round keeper, I don't, Alex just mentioned Schmeichel there. Schmeichel had everything, and he was consistent year in, year out. You knew you could rely on him year in, year out. And I think Ten Hag looked at him and thinks, okay, he's playing well at the moment. But actually, if you want to start winning stuff, and especially in the modern game, you need someone who can use the feet. And De Gea, I mean, he kicks the ball out of play more than I was going to say Maguire, but I don't want to start on Maguire so early. But he kicks the ball out of play.
There's time for that in a bit. Don't worry.
I think Ten Hag should be looking for another keeper. I'm never going to slag off David De Gea because I think he puts in 10 out of 10 effort every game, but he just sometimes loses concentration, etc. So I think it's time for him to probably start moving on. But I still like him because he said the amount of games he saves us is unbelievable as well.
Yeah, true, 100%. Garth, what have you got to say on this whole situation here? Anything to add to this?
Well, yeah, listen, I've been fighting this corner since the start. I think the disrespect being put on this man's name is outrageous. He has saved us time and time again over the 11 years he's been at this club. He's been nothing but a faithful servant to this team. He's one of our best players this season. The only thing against him is his contract. It's so hefty. That's the only reason I'd say. But yeah, I mean, the passing is getting better. He's only 31. He's still in his prime for a keeper. I don't think there's many in the world better than him. I don't know who you go and get. Costa, absolutely not. The only man I can think of is Oblak. Go back to Atletico Madrid, do a swap for Oblak. That's the only one. I don't understand. This is the grass is greener mentality that a lot of fans have got, and it's beginning. I really don't think it's right because David De Gea has literally been a stalwart for us, 4-time player of the season. Yeah, he ain't won much with us. So it's not his fault that he's had dodgy defenses in front of him. Yeah, he's got a couple of mistakes in him, but show me a goalkeeper that hasn't got that. You know what I mean? I thought Costa might be a replacement, but from what I've seen of him now, absolutely not. He looks like he's got a bit of shakiness about him. He's that nice. As I say, Simon again, I thought he could be saying he definitely ain't taking David De Gea's place for me. And all the other goalkeepers are tied up to long-term contracts. Martinez, absolutely not. David De Gea is better than Emi Martinez. David De Gea is a better goalkeeper than Martinez, 100%. The only thing you can say is he hasn't got a great pass on him. His shot stopping is second to none in world football. So, yeah, I really think, obviously, Ten Hag clearly wants something else by the looks of things from what you've said and everything. But, yeah, I find it hugely disrespectful that everyone's like, yeah, there's better out there. There just isn't. You go through the list of goalkeepers in world football right now and like who we could actually sign, not Alisson, not Edison, like who we could actually get and show me who's better than David De Gea. Because I don't think there's many. I really don't.
Yeah, I think it's going to... Go on, Alex.
No, I was going to say, what about, like, because obviously Dean Henderson's on loan, so I'm not saying he's better than De Gea, but I'm just like, is that something that...
Nowhere near.
No. I don't think...
Nowhere near.
He wouldn't be...
You see what he's doing at Forest?
Yeah.
If you're going to get someone else, you are going to have to get someone like an Old Black or I forgot the guy's name from the Moroccan keeper. I think he played for Sevilla, doesn't he? Because he looks quite tidy. I think you're going to have... because when Dean Henderson came after he played for... Who was he playing for before? I can't remember anyway, on loan. And I thought he looked quite good. But as soon as he came back... Oh, yeah, he was, yeah. As soon as he came back to Man United, he looks just shakier, actually, than David De Gea on crosses and stuff. Because that's... because I agree with Graf, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I genuinely think when it comes to crosses, I get very nervous when the ball goes in the box. Because
he is like that, to be fair. But you know what? There's someone who has a very strong opinion.
I was going to say, yeah, I'd be talking about it.
Very strong opinion on this De Gea situation. So I'm going to bring him in right now, right on cue. Mr. Marcel. How are you?
Accurate. Elaborate on what you said.
Your sound is not
I was
the greatest
gonna say,
right now.
How have you guys been?
You've been great.
Good.
Absolutely.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
You know, we need to hear your opinion
Now,
on this one, Marcel.
what are you guys
I'm going to
talking
throw
about?
you straight. Sorry?
De Gea.
Well, obviously, I've seen the game. Obviously, I've seen the game. Dubravka played yesterday, a couple of days ago, and I think obviously, you know, it was shocking. It was nothing short of really bad. But you know, we have to consider that he's obviously the replacement goalkeeper. And I think I would rather, and I keep saying this, I would rather him and Sommer, two goalkeepers that, you know, their wage bracket and their wage cost right now is definitely something that is a resemblance to their quality. I think David De Gea's, you know, how much he's get paid is not resembling his quality.
Yeah.
And I think if he does come on if he is on a short-term contract, I think it does benefit us. I think that's a good idea. If he goes on not a short-term, a reduced contract, De Gea's on a reduced contract. Let's say 150, 200k. I think that's more representative of his abilities. But you know, I do believe that getting Sommer in, getting Dubravka in, and even though he hasn't had a poor game, and let's be honest, guys, De Gea's had poor games as well this season, even worse games than that. I would say
not that bad, mate. Not that bad.
The Brentford game was bad. The Brentford game was bad.
The Brentford game was bad, Garth. I'll be honest.
Very bad. Yeah, to be fair,
it was a bad game, and then throughout the whole season, in my opinion, Garth. You know, last season, there was plenty of games where De Gea wasn't spectacular and very, very short of quality. You know, yes, there was games, and he does do this per season. He does save us in games, but you know, there was many a game, and I'd love to be able to sit down with fans.
Yeah, I remember the Everton game away. Remember when he was standing on it and they just got shut down in the own goal? I was like, "We did
own goal." So, honestly, there's a plethora of games that De Gea plays for us where he's just so short of quality, and for that massive wages, it doesn't make any sense to me, guys. So I would rather two poor. Go on, Alex. Sorry.
I was going to say because I was thinking like
no, you go.
He has been immense for us, but why is it that he doesn't get selected for Spain if he's that great? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what is missing with like Luis Enrique picking him, or him being even featured or even traveling with the group if he's that great in terms of right now? That's my only question marks as well. I wonder why.
No,
Because
but
you,
so I can
yeah,
respect people's question mark on that though, Alex. I would say to that each manager has their own philosophy, their idea of play, their own style of play. I think David De Gea would be fabulous under the regime at Atletico Madrid. You know, where you're not required to do much with your feet. There is a place for a player like David De Gea, but with Manchester United embarking a possession-based style of football where your goalkeeper's involved heavily in the game, I think Dubravka wasn't bad from his feet. He gave a lot of pressure passes to Wan-Bissaka, drilled it into him, into the chest, into the feet, where he had to deal with it. But he wasn't terrible. He looked quite composed. He made mistakes. Goalkeepers, we've seen it. Diogo Costa makes mistakes. All goalkeepers, what are we talking about? Every top goalkeeper's made mistakes. And we saw that in a game of football. But I wouldn't want to taper that and remove the goalpost. At the end of the day, we've clearly seen season upon season David De Gea be inadequate. Or not, or kind of, we all understand this. So I don't know why it's taken so long for the world to keep up with my pace. I just know that the future is this goalkeeper must go. That's all it is. And the way that I kind of project my agenda in such an exuberant way, people are like, they just can't, oh my God, what's going on? But at the end of the day, I'm giving you a simple fact. He's not good enough. Let's get a goalkeeper that's good enough. Man City done it with Joe Hart. You know, as soon as that was the first signing that Pep makes, a similar style of manager that we have. I think Barcelona had the same predicament where they had to get Ter Stegen in. They had a situation with the goalkeeper and they said, look, we got to get Ter Stegen. We need somebody that can do this side of the game first. And that's what it is for Manchester United. And we won't win trophies until we sort that problem out.
So true. You know, for me, I think he's obviously improved this year.
doesn't agree.
Oh, that's mad. This is the disrespect I'm talking about. This is the disrespect I'm talking about. It's shocking. That is shocking, man.
My turn is, look, he's doing well. We know how good he is with his handling. We know how good he is shot stopping. But what he's not great at is his feet. We know that for sure. But he's improved this year with that side of things. But the only thing is when it does get a bit of struggles, he kicks long, and he does kick long quite often, and then it comes back to us not having possession anymore. So I understand if we're trying to play a possession game, he's doing better by not making the amount of mistakes anymore, because he's going long. Whenever he gets any doubt in his mind, it's like, it's too, no, let's go, and we get it straight out. That is something that we didn't see, and again, yesterday, Dubravka, under pressure, he was popping it, and the one time he did make the mistake, let it under his foot, that was the time I thought, but then that's what I mean. You see that with City's keeper. You see that with Liverpool's keeper. You see that with all keepers who try and play, especially Mendy as well. He's having a mare recently. And we all was thinking he was a top keeper. Is he going down in our estimation now just because of the amount of mistakes he's making? Or does he get told, continue doing what you're doing, continue looking like that? It looks dangerous, but look, that's how we want to play. So that it is kind of like a catch-22 with that. But again, the reason why he's not getting a new contract is because Ten Hag does want someone else to overtake him one day, very soon. And if we give him a new contract on the money he's on, or even if it's the same, it's too much. So I understand why giving him a less contract, or not giving him a contract at all, to not be disrespectful, going, listen, we want you on half that money, lad. Will he take that? Probably not. So it's probably best to leave it, let it run, and then let him decide whether he wants to take a new contract at the end on a less money, if you get what I mean. So that's what I thought.
So, can I just ask, Marcel, are you talking about Jan Sommer, the 35-year-old Swiss goalkeeper? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, so it's
and
not
Dubravka to replace David De Gea.
No. So what I'm trying to say though, Garth, so you're looking at it in a sense of, I'm saying that these footballers are the footballers that are a grade above, or I'm just going with what's the speculation that's right now that's in the media. The speculation is Jan Sommer, the 35-year-old goalkeeper, is someone that Ten Hag wants. That's somebody that Ten Hag might. That's what I'm reading. So I'm not because my agenda would be to get Diogo Costa, somebody that's at the bracket at the level that's leading the market in terms of goalkeeping for me, Garth. But what I've been reading of late is, hey, Sommer is somebody that Ten Hag wants. So I'd rather him have Dubravka and Sommer on lesser wages, and that's a clear rebuilding kind of situation there. That needs to be rebuilt. Whereas with David De Gea, there's so much, love for this goalkeeper and we're blinded by this. Everything else within the club structure has changed except for the goalkeeper, and we haven't won trophies for such a long time.
I don't think that would be too much of a drop off to change to that. If you get me, I want him to change to something great, like better, like in all aspects, not only better with his feet, but then letting in goals with his hands. Like for example, Henderson, he comes out much quicker. He can kick the ball to people, but the kind of goals he let in from shots, you're like, oh, what are you doing? Like, how do you let that in? And that's where it hurts, because where they're good at something, they're poor at something else. And there ain't that many that are good enough that I can see. Maybe he's going to unearth a gem that we don't know about that can do it all. But until I see that, I get both your points there, Garth and Marcel. You're both thinking along the right lines, but it's just like, I think Ten Hag's going about it the right way as well. So I think everything he's doing at the moment seems to be going about it the right way. So I'm happy with how it's going.
Mate, in Ten Hag, I trust, mate. So whatever he wants, I trust. You know what I mean? 100%. Yeah, 1000%.
I was just going to throw another name in the mix, actually, because there's Mike Maignan, who he's a French goalkeeper who plays at AC Milan. And he's had an impressive season, like last season and especially this one as well. So, I mean,
you know what?
Yeah, I don't know much about him.
When it comes to keepers, yeah, I don't know nothing about anybody until someone starts talking about him. So, like, yeah, I've been scouting that keeper. He looks sick. I've been watching that.
But I will say I've seen Dubravka 3 times now, and that geezer fills me with no confidence whatsoever. I'd pay for a cab fare back to Newcastle for him. That geezer is an awful goalkeeper. Awful. So
I think if you're gonna get a new keeper, it surely has to be an upgrade. I don't think we can say, oh well, we're gonna settle for average keepers because David De Gea is on too much. My point is not that David De Gea is a bad keeper. My point is, if you look at the top teams who are winning stuff, you need a better keeper than David De Gea because as a shot stopper, I think you're right. There's no better in the world. And I don't just think it's his feet. Sometimes his positioning is not great. And he just doesn't command his area.
Yeah. You're right. That's something he's never done. He's never been.
I'll give you that.
So to me, that's what it is. But I would not get rid of him. And then you're saying Dubravka, because I mean, he's not exactly a world beater, is he? Even if he's better with his feet, he's not. I'm not looking at him and thinking, oh yeah, well we're gonna once he comes in, we're gonna start winning titles left, right, and centre. Yeah, you need a keeper who gives everybody confidence. And I think at the moment, you know, if you look at the Premier League, then De Gea is actually one of the best. I don't think he's one of the best in the world, and I think you can get better. That's my point.
I don't think he's one of the best in the league, Hakeem. You know, I think he's far from that quality. I'm sorry, he's very far from that best in the league quality. There's at least 4 better than him, and they're in lower teams than him. You know, in terms of that top 6 bracket, even. So you know that's one thing to look at. And then I'm only trying to make people understand that the reason why I'm even mentioning Dubravka and Sommer is because that's the predicament we're in. I would list off 1,000 other goalkeepers that could be better, even potential ones. But the situation that we're in is there's no money with the club, so Ten Hag's gone within what he knows. That's Sommer. There's no money within the club, and De Gea was the front runner of everything, so we had to get Dubravka, you know. But once you remove the wage burden, you know, and you have to do it from the top down. You know, you can't get young goalkeepers in that are, on a cheap wage. You need the top of the bracket goalkeeper, but you also need to get rid of the heavy wage burden that we've been on. Ronaldo wages, De Gea wages. Certain players are overpaid without the trophy cabinet to show for that.
Well, that's I understand. Because no one in the club's got a trophy, and they're all on lots of money. So you'd have to get rid of everybody then.
I was just about to say that. Are we putting Martial in that bracket as well? Because that geezer's on nearly 300 grand a week and he's barely won a thing. And he's always injured.
Look, best keeper in the league for confidence is unfortunately.
I don't want Martinez anywhere near this team.
He's sick. He is sick though. You watch the saves he's been making and the penalty saves as well. And he's doing everything.
He's Bayern Munich bound anyway. That's almost done and dusted from what I understand. Like he's gone to Bayern Munich, Martinez. Yeah, because Neuer's broken his leg, hasn't he? So he's gone. Yeah, he's out for the season. Neuer. Yeah. As I understood it, yeah. To be fair though, myself, I didn't realise this. I am just reading about Jan Sommer now. 5 mil, and they're buying him because of the Dubravka horror. That's where this has come from. And said they're bringing him in as backup, as someone to fight with David De Gea. 5 mil, I would change my mind on Jan Sommer definitely. That's like for 5 mil, that is a bargain goalkeeper to bring in and really challenge for the position, definitely. So,
we're definitely
but yeah,
on to the next subject right now. We went round twice on that one. But look, there's apparently been a conversation. There's apparently been a conversation that's gone on between Ten Hag and Maguire again. So let me bring it up. What was said? Ten Hag saw him in the changing room and says, "I bet you wish you could play for England. You know, always play for England. You're more comfortable there. It's clear."
Oh my word! Where's this come from?
I know, Gaffer, we don't often play big countries, so I don't get tested much. But club level is a different animal. So yeah,
That's not true, that actually, Nathan, because we do play big clubs. It's just we never beat them. Every time we play them, we get rinsed.
that was in my dream, by the way. That conversation happened in my dream. It wasn't real.
I was just
It was
about
me.
to say-
Has Alex dropped off because we talk about Maguire?
Yeah, I think so. Out of it. What about Dominic Livakovic? Was he at Croatia? Yeah,
Croatia.
Yeah, the Croatian fella. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure too much, but I did hear some kind of rumor about that. Nathal says Martial's worth 300k a week.
But what about your opinion though on his performances though, Nathan, during the World Cup? Just the Croatian goalkeeper,
Maguire,
the Moroccan goalkeeper.
Never based performances on World Cups, man. Yeah.
Well, look, I don't mind. I think they did. The players, the goalkeeper's done well for Croatia. Of course, he's done well. But look, if Ten Hag thinks he's the right man, I'm happy because I know he knows his players. So I ain't really know anything about these other goalkeepers. I'll tell you that straight from now. Until I see them playing and someone mentions a name and I can start looking at them and seeing what they're about, I don't know nothing. But what I do know is the question is can Maguire prove himself? Because here's the thing. Everyone talks about his form for England. His form for England is great. We do know England play against not the best teams quite often. And obviously it's easier playing international football when you're playing the lesser teams more often. Now, again, the question is can he prove himself now? Because if he can't prove himself now, he can't ever prove himself for me, because I believe he's fit now. He's match fit. So there's no better time for him to come back into the side and have no excuses to do the job. At the moment, Martinez, he's just finished. Varane, it looked like he had a little bit of an injury scare. He might be okay. So Maguire is well in there, in the frame, to get into this side and play games. So I want to ask the person who favours him the most, Alex, do you think it's a form thing or an ability thing? What do you think about him coming back into United now? Do you think he can come back in and actually produce good form?
Gosh, there's so many things. I think ability-wise, I feel like I don't know if this team works necessarily for him. I've always said that I feel like he's capable, and I think that he's a good, sturdy defender, but he needs to have a certain person or a certain player playing with him. And it just doesn't work for us. But yeah, there's no excuses now. Like he has had a really good World Cup. And I just feel like, did someone just make a noise there?
No.
No, I just for me, I just feel like does it work in the Eric Ten Hag system? Does he work with Lisandro Martinez? Does that partnership work? And from what I've seen so far, it hasn't. But I've always rooted for Maguire, but I just feel like potentially this team isn't the one for him. And he's going to do well wherever he goes, and he can prove himself. I don't think if he doesn't do well here, that means he's washed, he's finished, he can't play anywhere, because he can obviously play for the national team and he can play in any other squad. He's a decent enough defender. I just think for what we want to do and where we want to go, I don't know if it's going to work for us. And that's how I feel. But I do love Maguire.
Good. Hakeem, what you got to say on this man? The man of the hour.
Yeah. Where I've got, I think Alex has been very generous. So I just wrote, he's a good defender, but he needs a certain type of defender next to him. That's not a good defender. He's a good striker, but it just depends who's in goal against him or who's supplying the ball. You're either good or you're not. You don't say Van Dijk needs a certain type of player next to him, or even Martinez. Anytime he plays, and I'm not going to talk about England because I'm uninterested in United. When he plays for United, he's not very good. And if you look at Otamendi is bang average. He's terrible. He's a donkey. But he was playing in the World Cup final. So certain people can play in certain games for certain teams, like Maguire does. But when he plays in a quick league where you've got quick people passing around him, he hasn't got a clue. He gets beaten down the sides all the time, and then he just pulls people down. he gets caught out all the time. I can't, and I've watched him now over how many years, and he's 85 million. So that adds to it, because you're talking about top class money for a world class defender, and he's not even average in my opinion. You know, he gets caught out so many times. And how many people has he played with? Varane was supposed to be that player. Oh, when Varane comes in, you know, that's what Harry Maguire needs next to him. They were terrible. Look at Varane. As soon as Maguire's gone, Varane looks like a world beater again. You bring Maguire back in, Varane looks terrible. I just don't think Maguire can perform. So you know, I'm not saying he's a terrible defender. I don't know, because he's good at Leicester and he plays okay for England. But when he plays for United, he just can't do it. He just cannot. He's not of the level that we need. We're not going to ever win anything. And even as a substitute, when he comes on as a substitute, you see the performance drops because everyone starts getting nervous. People start dropping deep because they try to cover for him. He's just a disaster show for United, in my opinion. He just really, every time he plays, I just think we're going to lose because we're going to leak goals.
It is a tough one. It is a tough one. Let's go to the comments quickly before we move on. Nathal says, the thing Maguire is best at, he isn't even good at. Look at his headers. Every single one of them is awful floaters all the time. Now, that is true. I did think when he came in, yes, we're going to get loads of goals from Maguire. He looks like a beast. If he gets his head on them, he's going to smash them in. And they always seem to be soft headers that he can't really get power on. And I just wonder how you'd be that big and that strong and not be able to power a header like a Van Dijk can do and other players. Let's see what Eric says. King Eric says, I don't believe Maguire is good enough for our first team, but I don't want him to leave. We need to build a squad to be successful. I don't think he's good enough to be a squad player for United. I think he could go to another side and do stuff there, like a Leicester again, go back there or something, because they would actually take him back there as well. I wouldn't mind him going there. How can you say Maguire is just average? Southgate would laugh at you. Well, it's opinions.
Just on that, Nathan, that was to me, wasn't it? I was being generous when I said he was average.
But just going back on that, like what Hakeem was saying about how, if you're good enough to defend, you don't need anyone. Of course you need someone. It's not like a one-man game. It's like you have a team of players around you. So it's like there's always a centre-back partnership. Like even if you had Maldini or Messi, they can't just do that by themselves, like defend by themselves. Like they need a good centre-back pairing, and that's how it's been. You know, you've got in many of the different teams you have that. Even Van Dijk, like for Liverpool this season, hasn't been that great because he hasn't had the proper centre-back partnership that works for him. He's been leaking in goals left, right, and centre. He lost for the first time at Anfield this season. So there is credence to that, like having someone that works with you that can, you know, clean up for your negatives, because not every player is perfect and does everything the best. So I disagree with that.
No, I'm not saying that. Of course, you have to have a centre-back pairing, but I can't think of any other player, even in the league, where people are saying, "Oh, well, yeah, if you get the right partner for him, he'll be really good." Because saying that you need to be in a good partnership is very different than saying if you get a good partner, then he will look good. If you don't get the right partner, because what is the right partner? He's had about 4 or 5 different partners, and he looks rubbish with all of them. So all right, what partner will you get for him that you think is going to be good? Because that is supposed to be Varane.
John Stones, who he plays with.
Oh my God.
Together, but you say that, but
you need Declan Rice in front of him for that.
The other player at United that people were saying, if he had a better team around him, was Paul Pogba. Everybody's always been saying that about him. So, well, loads of people have.
He ain't got legs.
Loads of people have said that.
I've never said that either.
Loads of people have said that. If he had a better team around him, he would have won things, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. But you know what, Alex? There was no team that you could get around him there's not actually players that you can find to put around him that he just becomes this player who makes everyone amazing. It's like you have to lose something for Pogba to be the best, I think, with him. It is a bit of a difficult one because he hasn't got legs to get up and down. He's got great ability on the ball. But again, you need a Kante next to him. There's only one Kante. If you can't get him in, what are we going to do? So France did well because they had Kante and another defensive midfielder around him, and he had crazy, mad pace in Mbappe and stuff. So I didn't think we'll ever get that going. But in regards to the Maguire situation, let's go with Garth quick because Garth, you say what you need to say, and then Marcel, you say what you need to say. Then we'll go round again because I want to hear what you guys got to say first.
I mean, this is obviously everyone's got different opinions what they see on the pitch every week. Maguire for me is bog average. He shouldn't be anywhere near this team. He's awful. He's got no I don't see any ability in that man to be warranting a top 10 Premier League side. I really don't. I don't see. Look, we all hope he's a Man United player. We all hoped and wished for him. He's been truly dreadful every time. I'll come back to what you were saying, Alex, about they need to. I think the same as King saying that ain't the point. Everyone he plays with, he makes worse, is the way I would say. It's not about who makes him better. Literally, look at Dalot without him in the team. Look at Lindelof without him in the team. You know what I mean? All these players are looking much better with not being next to Maguire. He has got no attributes that I say are a top 10 Premier League player. It's a shame. We took a gamble. We took a punt. It didn't work. He is a defender from a bygone era. If this was 1995, it'd be perfect next to Steve Bruce. But this isn't. He's got no pace. He's got no passing, really. I love how they keep showing that he can do a diagonal. Oh, he's got a great diagonal on him, though. That's all I keep hearing is about this diagonal. They showed a highlights package of him. 3 of the balls went out. Like, honestly, I mean, they saw it, like, literally went out for throw-ins, and they showed it as a highlight package. Right? No, I don't get it. Listen, I'm a Man United fan. I wished he would have done well. He ain't done it. I don't see him even, like, improving a Leicester now because, what is he, 30? He hasn't, like, whatever pace he did is gone. I just don't see where he goes now. I don't see who pays him the money. I mean, what's his contract? Another 3 years? Unless we can find someone willing to take it off our hands,
Newcastle,
he's there for another 3 years. No, who's going to wait? But seriously, what manager watches him week in, week out and says, this man can improve my team? And just quickly on England, you can't judge players on international games, and you certainly can't judge them on World Cups, because I remember Karel Pobolski being absolutely amazing in the World Cup, and we went and bought him, and he was toilet. So, and I remember Coventry, was it the youth they signed, or whoever that was, he was amazing in the World Cup, and he was, no, it was El Hadji was another one, weren't it? Anyway, but whoever they signed, yeah, 2 of them, yeah, when it was Strachan in charge, weren't it? And he got 2 of them in. So, yeah, I don't put any, how well they do, in international tournaments as to why you should buy someone. He plays well for England, fair enough. Like, but I would say that he doesn't play well for England because the moment we come up against a decent team, we lose, and that's not just his fault. But he's the centre back. He got torn apart by an Iran striker, like torn apart. He got left for dead, blood twisted. And there's no disrespect to Iranian players, but they are Iranian players. You know what I mean? He shouldn't. He's meant to be. He is the most expensive centre back in the world on top end wages of 220, 250. He should be doing more than that. So yeah, I've got no time left for Maguire. I do apologise. I feel like I've ranted enough now. I've got a little hot and sweaty about it.
Marcel, what have you got to say? The question is can he prove himself now that he's back? He's fully fit. Is he ready to come in and do a job, or will we see more of the same?
I don't know where to start with this. Usually when Garth has a rant, it's it's something that I agree with. It's perfect news because I don't have to say much on top of what he said, you know, and that's how I feel about this one. It's Maguire doesn't have the attributes to play for our club, and in terms of the way that we're trying to go forward in the club anyway, we're playing majority of the time at the halfway line. Against Burnley the other day, there was a corner where everyone was in their box. We're 2-0 up, or I think 1-0 up, but everyone's in their half of the pitch. I can't see Maguire thriving in that environment. I can't see him thriving 30 games a season in that kind of environment where we're playing and we're asking our centre backs to play football on the halfway line. Not after a 38-game season. I can't see that happening. He doesn't show captain leadership qualities. He's had many poor interviews for representing our club as a captain. There are just so many signs that show that this man is nowhere near captain material for the club. I would say, you know, people have seen Robert Huth and Wes Morgan lift the Premier League, but they were in counter-attacking systems. They were in systems that suited best their team. Vardy on the counter, Mahrez allowed freedom to play. So we're not in the business of playing football in that way. And to King Eric's point, he was saying he would rather keep, you know, Maguire in the team because, you know, he wants a squad to be successful, not on those wages and not at that age. I would rather have Tuanzebe or Teng or is it Mengi? Mengi who's got an injury. I would really like to try and promote these footballers part of a successful squad around senior pros that have won trophies for our club. We need to get back to the top of the game of Premier League football. So I need centre backs that are World Cup winners, like Ten Hag's got, or Premier League winners, like we need to get within our team. Maguire is so far short of that at the moment, and we've seen that for a season, like season long of work. It's like it's been 30 games where he's been poor, 38 games where he's been poor. So for me, he's long gone now. But I'm optimistic and positive. So if Ten Hag can get the best out of this man, then hey, he's got to be part of the squad. I'm still wearing the Man United shirt and supporting him when he steps on the pitch. But it is very, very massively damning and condemning to him for him to have Casemiro ahead of him the other day and centre back instead of Maguire. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Garth or yourself, Nathan, would know.
I think he was not well.
He had an injury. Oh, okay, yeah.
Said he
See,
wasn't.
so that
Yeah,
could have been it.
no, I think that's a lot. I think that's him on his way out. I really do.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
You
That
know what?
sounds
In the
like that
comments,
to me because his one of his best abilities, Nath, is availability. He's always been available. But sorry, cutting you there.
Yeah, I was just saying that's not really something that's good for me. I don't think being available is anything special. I think that's just great to be available. But look, if you're not good enough, you're just not good enough. And King Eric is saying, look, he's an international. But I would say, look, whoever was playing at the back even in that France game at centre back, if it was Cody playing and he didn't get tested. Thingy didn't get tested in that game either. None of the centre backs actually got tested one-on-one in that whole game. So sometimes you do go through games where you don't get exposed one-on-one and you don't need to do anything. So I could have said Cody could have played, Mings could have played that game. They could all have played and said he played an okay game. It's not that bad, if you get what I mean. It's when you are tested, it comes to that time where you are bare-assed, you are one-on-one. What are you going to do now? And that's the times where you're going to get found out, if you get what I mean. And if you're not good enough, you're getting done, mate. So they're the points which I say I struggle with when it comes to Maguire. Maguire can do a job standardly, like every other defender can. And they can also play nice long balls, which every other player I've ever played with can do under no pressure as well. So there's nothing wrong with that. And the point is you come up against big boys, you know what happens. Iran, was it the first 2 minutes when the guy toasted him? I was like, oh my gosh, he just walked past him like he's not there. It didn't come to a goal, so great. We're so happy about that. But again, that shouldn't be able to happen. When you're slow, you should be able to position yourself where the guy can't run you. And you're bodying him so he can't pace you. I don't think he has that about him. Yeah, Thiago Silva, yeah. I don't think he has that about him, to be fair. You think Nathal says you think Maguire is better than Tomori because I
No.
sure don't. And one England international and one's not. Yeah,
It's a fair point. It's a fair point.
You get favourites, and that's just all it is. I think anyway. But look, I hope he does well. I hope he does well enough to be able to do a job while other players are out, and then hopefully we can move him on and then find someone else that's up to the levels of Champions League football. At its best. That's what we need. People who can mix it at the highest of the highest. And we've seen many players in United, haven't we? We've seen Cleberson come and go. Jemba come and go. We've seen players at the back come and go. We've seen these kind of players come and go. And we're like, right, they got to move on because they're not fitting what we want. And that's all it is. It's nothing. I don't think there's anything bad about that. We all know our positions. You know, O'Shea, he was a good defender. And then he went to where? He went to his level. Right? He didn't go to an Arsenal. He didn't go to a City. He went to Sunderland. You know, he's a good player. He's much better than obviously Maguire was, so it's another level. But that's just the way it is. I'm not going to kill him no more.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it on to the next one because we are going to talk about someone very positive here that I'm sure Alex will want to talk about, and I want her to talk about it first as well. Because this man, Rashford, is back to his best, and he has got 14 games, 4 goals in the league, and he's got 3 goals in 4 games in the EFL, in the Cup, in Europa, and he's got 2 in 2 in the EFL. Is he back to his best, Alex? Because he's on fire right now, and you've actually changed my mind on who is currently the halfway through the season, well, nearly halfway through the season, player of the season. So what do you think of this man, Rashford?
Oh my gosh, that's music to my ears. I mean, I don't want to say I told you so, but what can I say? Do you know what? I watched that goal that he scored. I saw the highlights because I missed the game yesterday, but it was just, I mean, okay, people can say, oh, it's against Burnley, but I don't care. I think his commitment, his drive, his desire to get that ball and drive it through, it was just, I was like, wow, I felt excited. So I think that's just a little glimpse and a snippet of what Rashford is capable of. And I think that he's just got that spring in his step again. You saw that, I mean, okay, Garth will say about when you international form, but I think even watching him play for England, I don't think I've seen him that poised, that determined, wearing England shirt, and just the goals that he scored, I was like, where's this coming from? But I think that's coming from his hard work. And I think that he's probably in a better mind space now. He's got a better coach. He's working with a better team, and they're getting the best out of him clearly because he's performing so well. So for me, I can just see more goals in his future for sure. My stocks are very high in Rashford's, and they will continue to be very high. I will not cash out yet anyway. And I'm glad that we've triggered the extension clause because I feel like we need him next season and beyond. And I feel like it's beautiful to see him like performing in this way. He looks like an absolute machine, and I just can't wait to watch every game that he's in for the rest of the season.
Well, look, Hakeem, here's a question. Here's a thing for you a little stat for you: 20 games, 9 goals, and you know he could have the same amount as a guy across the road right now if he had put away his sitters that he also had chances. So Hakeem, this guy has got a lot of potential. We all know that. We know what he's about. He's, you know, like the Liverpool striker who's come in, and he's a player like that as well. He has loads of chances. It should be on so many more goals, but he isn't. And he is a danger man. I see Rashford similar to that. But what do you think, Hakeem?
I'd agree with Alex on most of those points. I mean, I've never doubted his ability. The fact that he's got oodles of ability. When he plays, he excites you. He's always playing on the shoulder of the last man. He can dribble. He can pretty much do it all apart from he's not a clinical finisher. But you know, nor was Ryan Giggs. And I think the problem that Rashford's got is people keep, and because for ages everyone said, "Oh, is he a number 9?" He's not a number 9. Everyone knows he's not a number 9. So you can't be comparing him with the likes of Haaland, in my opinion, because he's not that kind of player. He's not. If you give him 5 chances, he's not gonna bury 4. He's gonna bury about 1 or 2. And when he hasn't got time to think about it, he lashes it into the top corner. When he's got time, he's gonna miss or he's gonna hit the keeper. But I love the way he plays because that sort of player, you know, when he's on his form and he's clearly happy now, he's a game changer. He's just one of those players. He's explosive. He gets the ball. He goes past players. He creates space for other players. I love watching him play. And you know, when he burst on the scene, he was quality. He's not got any worse. He just had a couple of seasons where obviously something was not right. And you can hazard a guess at what it was, but you could see he was not motivated because as soon as Ten Hag has come in, he's back to the Rashford we knew 2 or 3 seasons ago. I love watching him play, and we might not talk about same with Martial because the best I saw them play was when we had Mourinho. I don't know. I mean, Mourinho seems to depress everybody else, but when that first half of the season when he was rotating Martial and Rashford, we looked absolutely unstoppable.
Yeah, with Ibrahimovic up front, Lukaku. Yeah.
And Rashford is now back to that. And I think if we get a proper number 9 who can just bag goals in, then Rashford all of a sudden becomes an amazing part of the front three.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. Garth, what you got to say on this one? And I'll leave it to you, Marcel, to end this.
Yeah, well, I'm clearly going to be playing devil's advocate here because I love Rashford. He's one of my favourite players at Man United, without a shadow of a doubt. I don't know when 4 goals in 14 games become player of the season thus far. He's nowhere near player of the season thus far. 4 goals in 14 games. He scored 2 of them against Arsenal. So he's only scored in 3 games in the Premier League this season in 14. That's unacceptable. So to be saying that he's the player of the season on them sort of stats is madness, absolute madness. Like, I don't get it. I'm just going through it now. He's played. You do goals on minutes as well, Nate. He's played basically 90 minutes every game.
Hasn't he scored 9 goals?
Yeah, listen. I'm old school. It's always league goals that I count. It's league goals that I count as with every. Yeah, he's got 9 goals in 20. That's all right. I'm not saying, but we're talking about league form here. Is what I'm going on. 4 in 14. With 2 of them coming against Arsenal, we scored in 3 games. He's played 90 minutes.
He's on the left
game.
and up front as well, by the way. Don't just play up front. So
listen, look, wingers. I don't want to hear this about he's on the left. Anyone who plays left, right, or centre, they're a striker now. They're not a winger. I was a winger. I was a winger, man. Yeah, I do. Yeah, 100%, bro. He's a forward left. He's a Del Piero. You'd never call Del Piero a winger in a million years. He's a forward left. Just like Anthony's a forward right, basically. When you're playing that high up the pitch, you can't call yourself a winger anymore. He doesn't track back. He's not really. He's not a winger. He's a forward, and he doesn't score enough goals. I don't think he's anywhere near his best form. Anywhere near. I can't wait to see him hit his best form. When he does, that's when I'll be like, he's back. He's nowhere near back. There was a time we were talking about him being as good as Mbappe. So that picture of him tapping Mbappe on his head as he was walking away and stuff. So yeah, I don't get the hype. I think we're bigging him up for no reason whatsoever. I think player of the season thus far is Casemiro, Eriksen, Dallo, I'd put all of them above him. Martinez above him. Like all of these players, I'd have highly above Rashford. So yeah, I don't get like as I keep going back to. I'm sorry, but scoring 3 games in the Premier League, that's old Rashford. That's Rashford as we know. Like that's like not the good Rashford. That's Rashford from last season. I hope he gets back. But we'll see. He's got to sign a new contract, and he's already on 200 grand a week. So what are we paying him? You know what I mean? Because I'm not paying him 300 grand a week. I'm sorry, I'm not. Like there's players out there that I'd much rather get for that sort of money. So yeah, but yeah, he's great. I love Rashford. I hope I don't come across like I don't love Rashford. He's a Man United boy, and he should. And he's one of our. He could be one of our best players, but yeah, he's nowhere near his top form. Nowhere near.
Marcel.
Yeah, Garth, can you just please articulate it in a nicer way? That's what it is. Because you're right. I agree with you.
Please,
I agree with you. It's just because the first thing that I think to myself is this is not his best form. This is not number 1 level rush. He was electric on the right before, and I never used to complain about doing the job on the right. Rip players, flip flaps on the right, assist for Pogba on the left, more goals than whatever it was before. This is not his best level, but this is a new level though, Garth. That's why I can agree with it's beautiful to see from Alex. I can agree from exactly how well put it's been by Hakeem, because this is a very good level of Rashford that we're getting right now. And he's scoring in big games for us. He's playing fantastic. But then I also agree with you, this is nowhere near his best. We need to demand more from him. He shouldn't be rewarded. I agree with that as well. And imagine that it would be a catastrophe if he's on 300 again. But we're going in that vicious cycle. If it's free, I'm seeing 400k to be honest with you, Garth. I don't know what yeah, I'm seeing 400k. I'm seeing reports on if what would the numbers be if it's 450. And it just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me. I want him to continue to go in this trajectory that he's in. He's a fantastic player. I don't think we should sell him. But, you know, we need to taper this. And I think Ten Hag's been masterful in that, you know, with all the players. Just tapering the expectations. Is he the number 1 target for the half of the season? Again, agree with Garth. Martinez has been the guy for me. He looks like already he's excelled himself into captain status, you know, and Casemiro's had to fight for his rights in the team after Scott McTominay was being brilliant. I would put Casemiro in and around that. Bruno, even I've got a huge bias on with Bruno, but I would even say Bruno's been a little bit better. So and then he's had struggles for that number 10 position. He's had to learn and be humble on the right side for a little bit. You know, there's players that have done a lot more right now, and I think Rashford still has to do more. And I think Ten Hag's been perfect for Rashford. Really reinvigorated his career, reinvigorated his spirit, and it's paying dividends on the pitch. That's why we all have to be happy, like how Alex is. I 100% agree with it. It's beautiful to see, beautiful to see him play like this, and I think he'll continue doing it. I just think, like Garth's saying, 14 goals, or how many? It's not 14 goals, sorry, 2 or 3 goals in 14 games. Just
4 goals in 40. 4 goals in 40 games.
That doesn't strike me as a top goal scorer or top player right now.
Of course, you're going to look at league goals, but you're playing games. You have to score in the game. You can't. I understand what you're saying. If you want to look at this league stats, that's fine. But if you're looking at someone's form, you have to look at the games they're playing and how many goals they score. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, well let's ignore all those goals," because those goals are just are important. Yesterday, that goal settled the nerves.
Yeah,
those are the goals that you need.
Say now exactly what I'm going to say about what I think, because look, I was looking at it thinking, he's done okay, he's done all right, and then when you look back and you say, we beat Arsenal because his running off the ball as well. He scored 2 great goals that game. You know, and then you look at all of the goals that he has scored. They've been very, very important for us to get where we're at right now. And if he was playing anything like he was, I'm not saying that he's been in top form the whole of the season. No, because I was just saying the other day about, you know, that even the game for England wasn't that great, and the keeper should have saved the free kick. It's a good free kick, but a normal keeper's going to save that. That's what I was saying. But my point of the matter is what he's done up until now, and then that performance, he's running from halfway line, dribbling past people on the right when you don't see that, and he puts it in the bottom corner. In the corner, that's not what you see from Rashford normally. And then you see him dropping the shoulder and leaving the man running past him and getting tackled on the floor, brought down, foul. And then what you see, standing the man up. Megs, fake. I'm like, that's the top Rashford I want to see. I'm saying what I saw yesterday is him back to the levels of what I want to see every game. I want to see those levels every game. And it's taken him from the start of the season till right now to get to these levels again. He's in and around the high levels we were seeing from him when he was at his best. That's what I'm trying to get at. And then to say, when you need goals, football's about goals. So again, defender, amazing. Lisandro Martinez, amazing. I had Casemiro as being another instrumental part. But then when you look at goals, you need goals. Martial been out all this time. Ronaldo been absolutely nothing. Rashford's been the only one holding the fort up front and on the left and on the right, scoring the majority of what we need to be where we're at today. So that's why I've changed my mind and I've put Rashi installed just at number 1. There are a few others right next to him, like you say, Dalot, Casemiro, and Martinez, and even Eriksen. They're all just right there, but goals mean everything. So Rashford is like a little bit on top there like that. That's why I put him there. So we hear everybody's thoughts. That's my side of it. So sorry. Well, I'd have to bring that.
I just want to quickly say the reason to Hakeem. The reason I go on league goals is because old school. That's what you used to. If you look at the stats, that's how they used to do it. It was league goals. That was it. But also, he scored against the Cypriot team. They're literally part timers. He scored against Sharif.
Don't matter.
It does matter. It does matter, Nath. It does matter because we're talking about Maguire. No. If we've got to have the same energy we got for Rashford, we got Maguire. We're saying Maguire only plays well against rubbish teams. And then he doesn't do well against good teams. Rashford has only scored against one.
Okay. Rashford scored against Liverpool, and Rashford scored against Liverpool, and he scored against Arsenal. So I feel like
that's the league goals. That's the league goals. That's what I'm talking about.
Rashford is a clutch player for me. I feel like he is. So,
and I think he bagged against everybody. Number 1, and not only that, the quality of his goals have been great. It's not like you go, that's a crap goal, easy goal. That's a tap in there. That's nothing.
2 weeks ago, we were talking about he couldn't finish properly, Nath. 2 weeks ago, we had that conversation, and he scored 1 goal since then. That's different. And now all of a sudden, he's like, I don't get it. I don't see how you can change my time like that. Because literally 2 weeks ago, we're like, he's got to improve this. He's got to improve that. He can't keep shooting down the throat of the goalkeeper.
He still needs to do that. Yeah, he still needs to do that.
But what he's got, even when he was in his pomp, he's not a clinical striker. I don't think
never been that. Yeah,
there's certain people that you just like a Haaland. You give him the ball, you expect him to score. We ran the straw. You give him the ball, you expect him to score.
Oh yeah.
Rashford is not one of those players that he just every time you give him the ball, he's going to score. To me, he just adds a lot more. I mean, and I always go back to Ryan Giggs because Ryan Giggs was terrible in front of net. That bloody miss he had against Arsenal, he still keeps me awake at night. But he gave you so much to the rest of the team, and he brings other players in. And as Nathan said, I don't think he's player of the season, to be honest. But the fact that he brings other players in, and when he was really playing well, it's because he had proper strikers. We haven't had a proper striker, so he's actually trying to do everything. He's almost carrying that front line because Martial comes in, then he disappears off. Ronaldo's moaning and groaning. He's not really playing. So the only real consistency you've got up front is him. So I'm not saying that he's a world beater at the moment, but you can see, if I look at him compared to the last 2 seasons, and then I now look at him, you can see the back to his, you can just see the enthusiasm. Last season, he wasn't even running at players. He was just like, on the wing.
No, I agree entirely. This is what I'm saying. He's much better than last season, but I don't see where all of a sudden, just because he scored 1 goal yesterday that was in the bottom corner, how all of a sudden all of the faults that we were talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks is now gone. Just gone because he's done it once. But I'm just saying you're saying he's player of the season, mate. Like literally 3 weeks ago. He was, man. Well, I mean, listen, it's all opinions. I think there's so much more to come from him. I think we're overhyping the fella big time. So much more to come of him. He's nowhere near the form.
The right things. You've all said things that I agree with. There's no doubt about it. There's more to come. His finishing needs to be better. He could still be even on 15, 16 goals by now. He should be on.
Yeah, it should be, yeah.
He's on 9. So we know all of that. But at the same time, he's getting back to his levels. And look, he's doing what he needs to do. He should be better. He could be better. And he's still...
Let me just ask this thing. Yeah, let me ask you to go around the panel where if he's not a goal scorer, which I agree with, he's not a winger. Yeah. He doesn't often play on the right. You don't like him playing through the centre. What is his role in this team then? Because he's not an assist maker either. You go for his assist, it ain't great. The only season he's ever had good was when he had the 3 ups. So what is the man's role in this team?
I'll speak later. I'll speak after Alex first. You can go, Alex, then we'll go round because I know what I want to say about this guy and what position I think he is. Go on, Alex.
I mean, I look at him as a winger. I really do. I don't really see him as a striker because I just don't. I feel like he's really explosive when he comes in on the left, and I feel like because he can interchange between the right and the left. I feel like he adds that layer to his game for me, and I don't really see him as an out and out striker because I don't see. I feel like sometimes when he is in that position, I think a lot of defenders like close up shop on us, and they don't give us that space when he's playing on the wings. It allows us to open teams up sometimes. So I don't really see him as a striker, but. Again, yeah, it's like this debate's been happening for so many years. Like, what is his position? But yeah, I don't see him as a striker.
I'm not just talking about his position. I mean, specifically, like, because for me, as I just said, there are no wingers in football anymore. He's a forward, and forwards are meant to score goals. So, but if he's a winger, that means he's meant to be getting to the byline, crossing the ball in, and making assists. He doesn't do that either. And this is what I'm saying. What is it he doing? Well, like, you can't. If you're saying you don't see him as a striker, I don't either. I don't see him as through the centre. I don't see him as a winger.
Fine.
Yeah, but I don't see him as a winger. So that's more my point. Like, what is his game for us? Yeah.
So, what to answer that then, Garth? I think he's meant to work the system. He's the best right now at working the system. Well, the job that Ten Hag wants you to do is drag players left and right. Rashford's doing that the best right now in the team. He's dragging opponents out of their shape, and that's what he's the best at right now. And he's doing it in a proactive manner, and he's trying to be overall proactive. That's what Ten Hag wants. So he's proactive and he's very aggressive. And I agree with you in the sense that I'm going to blur the three positions together and say it's just forwards. But we need to be particular because at some stage you're going to want specialization, especially if you want to compete at the highest level. You're going to want specialization. So, but for now, I will blur it for now because that's what we have to deal with. That's why I mentioned Sommer and Dubravka, because we're dealing with predicaments that we shouldn't really be in. Once the new consortium comes in and like John Murtagh promised Ten Hag, we'll be able to get specialization, top level players that are able to do specific roles at the highest acumen. But right now, he has to blur the kind of role and make sure that you're doing something for the cog, for the machine. And Rashford's always been that player that's done something for the machine. Hard work, intensity, pressure, running, pressing. And he does the same like Bruno. And you need those players right now when you haven't got the luxuries that City have, that Newcastle have, that you can just churn it, holistic backing kind of thing. You need him. He's very important to that system. I would say even though I've said all of that, I would say he's a left winger. Imagine that. I would still say he's a left winger. I don't see him as a complete bagsman, goal scorer, Lewandowski, Harry Kane, even Messi in the pocket. I don't see him as any Shevchenko, fantastic number nines. I don't see him as that. But I do see him as somebody that is high intensity, and that Sancho's not basically. He's basically someone that Sancho is not, and right now Sancho needs to go into the 10. So I would say, he's a left winger, but he's doing the humble work of the system right now, and that's why Ten Hag loves him and wants him in the team.
Hakeem,
he's an amazing player.
Yeah, no, I'd say the winger, and he doesn't go down the byline and put crosses in, but who does these days? Because if he goes down the byline and puts crosses in, who's in the centre to finish it off? Nobody. So he's proactive and getting in there. And actually, what I would say is that I think, because if you look at someone that a lot of the players, Ten Hag has improved them. So even though I don't think he's ever going to be a 30-goal a season type of player, he can definitely be getting up to 16, 17, 18 goals because actually he knows where the back of the net is. He just needs a bit of coaching and a bit of practice because he's not going to be, before anyone gets excited, he's not going to be a Thierry Henry. When Thierry Henry was at Juventus, he couldn't hit a cow's backside of a banjo. When he first came to Arsenal, he couldn't hit a cow's backside of the banjo. He was trained, coached, and to one of the best goal scorers the Premier League's ever seen. So Rashford has all those attributes, and it's just about, and that's why I think that's why me and Alex are so excited because when a player is playing with confidence, he'll start scoring goals. Because what Nathan said, that goal he scored yesterday, it's not the sort of goal he scores. He had time and he thought about it and he placed it. I've not seen Rashford do that probably ever. He normally just lashes it and then the pace takes it past the keeper. He actually dribble pass and he thought about where am I going to put this. So someone I think has been coaching him, and I think the more the coaching, if he's got all those attributes and he starts scoring goals, we've got a hell of a player on our hands. Oh yeah,
100%. I'm purely playing devil's advocate here because I love Rashford. So just so everyone knows that I love the man. So
well, look, when it comes to Karashi, it's a hard one because when he first came through as a striker and he was scoring goals every single week, every game he was scoring against all the big boys, doing what he does best. Then he went out onto the left and he's doing bits out there when he was in and out with Martial, swapping whenever whoever's playing the better player. But he's always said he wants to play up front. One thing is, though, he can't do the striker number 9, typical number 9 things. He can't hold the ball up like that. He's not that kind of player with his back to goal. You see players come right through him. He doesn't even want to take the challenge behind him. He doesn't want it. And then you go out wide. He's not actually the wide kind of player either for me. I don't think he actually perfectly suits any position. I don't think he perfectly suits anything. But what I do think he perfectly suits is running off the back man and getting a chance in behind him and getting a shot off. That's what he's about. So if he got to do that from wide or do that from the middle, wherever he's playing, as long as his job is, listen, just run that line and we'll keep putting you in behind. Like Vardy was doing. But Vardy's obviously more of a number 9. But I see him as a player who has to hang off the last man and try and use his pace. Because I'm telling you, when you all you got to do is beat the man, get the ball, and then finish, or shimmy and fake a shot. That's what Rashi's all about. So whatever position you want to call it, whether it's off the left, middle, right, I don't care. As long as he's doing that and been told to do that, and the midfielders behind are saying, been told. I don't know if you've seen that interview where they were talking about Scholesy. Rio was talking about Van P. He said, listen, you guys do not find Van P. You're coming off because he's going to win us the league. And it's exactly the same similar kind of thing with Rashi. Listen, if he's making runs in behind, you better find him or you're sitting with me. And that's what I want to see. I don't want to call him any position anymore. He wants to be a striker. He wants to be a forward. Let's merge it all and say, just hang off the last man and score your goals.
I was just going to add to that as well. I just think he's really great for like moments of individual brilliance. Like I don't think there's any other player that I've seen that does what he does. And I think even when we look at like the COVID season, how he was just scoring goals out of thin air sometimes, and you're like, thank you, Rashford. We needed that. And he did the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, but he did the same thing yesterday, and I think those things should be counted because like that, those things are just they're necessary. Sorry, it's fly.
You know what? We had one more thing to go through. Do you guys want to go through this or not? I don't know if you've got time, but we've got the Sancho thing to talk about. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to go through it, right? This is the last thing we're going to talk. We're going to stop in the next 10 minutes, guys. We'll stop in at 10. But look, Sancho trains along with the Dutch coaches. Eric Ten Hag has refused to put a timescale on Jadon Sancho's return as the winger continues to train alone. Sancho, 22, was training in Netherlands with coaches recommended by Ten Hag in a bid to recapture his form. We all know he's off form. We all know he's not running. He's not doing the right things. It seems like he's going through a bout of what Rashford went through. I don't know if it's some kind of fever that he just said, listen, here, you take this one. I ain't got it no more. I ain't got it more. You take it, Sancho. He's like, I'll take it. No. Oh, my gosh. Oh.
He caught the lurgy off Rashi.
He somehow got some kind of lurgy. But look, he's going there to get the rehab that Rashford got pre-season, and hopefully he's going to come back being the Sancho that we've seen at Dortmund. But Garth, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think there's any way back for this man? I think there is, but what do you think?
I think it would be foolish. This is why I don't want to see Gakpo in the team. This like as good as Gakpo is, like as Nafal said, he ain't a striker. He was just another winger, so someone's losing minutes, whether it's Garnacho or Sancho. We just don't need another one of them players in this team, I don't think. Oh, but again, Ten Hag wants him, so what Ten Hag wants, he gets. Listen, it'll be a devastating blow if this kid doesn't reach his potential. He was never going to be the Dortmund Jadon Sancho. He was that we don't play that style at the moment. He was never going to be scoring 20 goals a season for us. But I see the talent. Even this season, he's always like 10 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. It's not like that's the league form. So like it ain't ridiculously like we just said that everyone else was arguing that Rashford's 4 goals is great, but Sancho's played 5 games less and got 2 goals. So like I think he's been a bit hard done by. I don't think his form was as horrific as everyone made out. But listen, I'd be devastated for the kid if he don't make it, because for me, he is the star. Like was it the phrase everyone used, star boy? He's the star boy in this team. He's got the magic in his feet. He's the something different. He really could be. But I don't know, because it hasn't been happening. So
Alex, what you got to say on this one? Let's see what you got.
Do you know what? I think that this is really progressive in football, that Ten Hag is like, obviously I think he sees him as a talent and he wants him to go away and perfect his game and work on himself. And I think that even before Jadon Sancho had deleted his like social media accounts and stuff stuff like that. What does that mean?
Keep talking. Don't stop.
So I think that, you know, he's obviously going through something mentally. So I am just hoping that this is going to do him the world of good, because I love Jadon Sancho and I want to see him back in the squad 100%.
You got 30 more seconds. You don't need to speed it up.
Oh, it's a timer. None of us can see that, Nathan. We can just see a white screen, mate.
Everyone.
I can
thought
see
it was
that.
for everyone.
I think
No, I didn't.
You didn't have a timer on for Garth, did you? You let Garth go on, and then as soon as Alex...
Yeah, you know, yeah. All of a sudden...
Leave Alex alone. It's Alex's turn.
No, do you know what? I thought that was a timer saying how much there was left completely. I didn't realise that was... I thought so I had to get off so that someone else can, like, speak.
Well, now you do.
That's so harsh. That's so harsh, mate.
So harsh.
Alex, you got World Cup extra time anyway. Don't worry. You got 9 minutes. Go.
Oh, that's what I mean. No, I was just gonna say, because, you know, like, mental health is a big thing, and I think that this is a good thing for him to go away to, like, really recuperate and to work with professionals and to build his game and to get that confidence again. But I feel like the way that he's going to build it up is being in the team and performing and scoring and doing really well. And so that's going to come in time. But I'm happy for him that he's getting this time out to do that, because it's so needed in this game. I think we're so ready to just, like, call every player trash and just throw them in the bin. But I think he's got so much potential and we've spent money on him, and it's like, I think he deserves time to prove himself. And I'm hoping that he will come back stronger, fitter, and just be the best he can be. Oh my God. Okay. Next.
Hakeem, that was good. That was good, Alex. Hakeem, your time starts.
No, you could at least do the hold up a pencil trick, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you can't. I can't see what it is. Anyway, you don't lose talent overnight, do you? It's obviously a confidence thing. And Haag has identified it's a confidence thing. He's taken him out of the firing line. He's gone to do some training with him, get his mind right, and I think that's the right thing to do. Because it prevents people slagging him off and saying this, that, and the other. Because the guy's a good player, and as Garth said, when you see him, even when he's not playing well, you just can see the talent he's got. He's just got not got the confidence. He gets the ball, he goes back because he doesn't want to make a mistake. So yeah, I think he'll come back better and stronger, and we'll be better for it.
100%. You finished with 3 seconds too late early. That so. 3 seconds.
Is that an extra 3 seconds for me? Yeah.
You got an extra 3 seconds. You start. I won't press it 3 seconds after you start. Let's go.
So what I will say on Sancho, I think I have to go back to quite an interesting thing of at Dortmund. I think he's still young. You express yourself more. You want to be more aggressive on the ball, and that's our biggest issue with him. He's not aggressive enough on the ball. You know, you got the St. Maximums of the world, even the Rashfords, Garnacho. This is a young player as well that's just so aggressive on the ball, and I don't know if that's a confidence issue that you don't always want to go once you've got the opportunity to break lines and dribble past players. But I think his ultimate position is a 10. I'm looking at him, and Sufyan Buffal is a bit slower on the ball, but is still able to. He's so confident in his ability, maybe because of the career that he's had to develop, and he likes to go 1v1. But I don't see, Garnacho will surpass him. Rashford will surpass him because they're breaking lines. They're trying to get past players. Sancho doesn't strike me as somebody that, can consistently go and do 10 runs in a game. I think he's a 10, guys. He's a 10. Look at Neymar's career. Neymar was a very tricky player out wide. And sorry, Hakeem, I don't have to mention him, but that's the kind of style that I think Sancho has. He has that Neymar-esque style, and Neymar at some stage, to be the man, had to go in that 10. He had to remove himself from that left wing, similar to Sancho, and go in the 10.
You're right. I'm going to go now. Well, look, guys, it's been great having you guys on here. No, I'm playing. But, so Sancho's been absolutely, he's I feel like the type of football that he was used to at Dortmund, it was not the same here when he came, and he was really wanting it to happen, but we didn't have the Eriksen, we only had the Bruno, but no one who could play the ball to him. So now we're getting to a level where we should see the better of him. And then Martial got injured when we just had that pieces of the puzzle together at pre-season. When we saw that happening, it got it's like the triangle got broken, and he wasn't able to do what he's able to do as well. And so let me just stop that for a second. Let me finish what I got to say. So and then he loses confidence, and then new players come in, and then he now gets moved to the left, and then he's like, wow, I've got to now fight with Rashford, and now Garnacho's coming through, and then they don't give the ball to our wide men quick enough. Well, I was saying this today to you, Garth. We don't get the ball to the wide men quick enough, the way Arsenal do it. If you watch the Arsenal versus Chelsea, the ball gets moved so quickly, and then Saka's on the ball, Martinelli's on the ball. They must get about, I'll tell you now, about 4 or 5 opportunities one-on-one every 20 minutes. United, you'll be lucky if any of our wingers get that once, 4 or 5 times in a whole game, because that's what we have a problem with. So if we can start doing better with that, I think Sancho will start getting more and more confidence to take players on, because you won't have 2 players standing there. You'll have 1 player, and he'll be isolated, and he'll be able to 1-2 with someone like a Martial, who can then turn and run the other way still. And then now they lose focus on Sancho. Then he gets the ball back and does his bits. So I think it's all to do with how the team plays, and will bring him into his best game as well. And all the other players will also. So yeah, that's my bit. But guys, it's
how many
been
more
really
seconds are on the timer? Is it how many more seconds? Is it?
Mine's done.
No,
done.
like,
The big dog don't get a timer. Come on now.
Oh, Noah says, last question for everyone then. One question, one word, not one word, one name answer from everyone on Noah's answer. Noah, that's a new name. Please like and subscribe, and everybody please turn on those notifications for the next one. But Marshall, go first. What's the name of a number 9 that you want?
Vlahovic.
Alex, who you got?
João Felix.
Yes! Garth, who you got?
No, yeah, it's Ramos for me. Like I was saying before the World Cup, Goncalo
That's
Ramos.
more than one word. It's one word.
No,
Hakeem.
There's only one. Mbappe. Who else?
Oh yeah, flipping it. I'm so.
Oh yeah, if we're allowed to pick Mbappe, then yeah, Mbappe.
Yeah. Come on, Hakeem.
No, but
Come
that's
on.
actually in the rumours, isn't it? It's rumoured.
Yeah, there is rumours out there that we've approached
Mbappe,
it. Yeah,
guys. Mbappe, it is.
Fair enough.
It is. I'd take Felix on loan, though. By the way, I would take him on loan
He's not a
and play him
striker,
everywhere.
I know, but he can play in that position.
Yeah,
And
I'll
Mbappe's
play
not
him on
striker
loan.
either, but he can play there. So
Right, guys. You know what? The reason why my son's on there so much because he's at the gym and he's finished and he's waiting for us to pick him up.
who's your son? Which one?
Nathal's my son, isn't it?
Ah!
Is this if we go back through his messages, it goes down the side, Dad, please pick me up. Is that what's going to happen?
First letter of every word.
Oh my god! What's he saying? Has he said anything recently? No, Gakpo is in the. Oh, that's now. Why are you writing Gakpo into striker? Oh, I'm happy with Gakpo. Gakpo is in the striker. But look, guys, it's been amazing. Thank you again. It's lovely to see everyone back. Oh wait, Frank Murat says Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You know what? When he's on his game, he's not a bad number 9. He's quite quick. He's great in the air, winning balls. And if he could just sit in them and just be a nuisance, that's fine. But I think we need a bit more. We need a bit more.
Go down that.
Game this season.
Sorry, he's been injured too much. Yeah.
He's going to play 3 games this season.
You need Tony if you're going to go down that road.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love Tony.
So we can't have Tony, mate. He's going to be betting on how many corners there are in the game and booting it out for himself, isn't he?
Guys, it's been great. Look, the next match. Oh yeah, the next match is
Tuesday.
6 days from now. Forest.
We got Forest.
It's 27th. Forest, yeah.
Yeah, it's Stamford Box Day, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We have Forest.
Can't
Lautaro Martinez. Okay, I don't really like him too much.
No, I don't rate him. That's all right.
The game is Tuesday. We will be on Monday, 5 o'clock, and we will be going through obviously what we think is going to happen in that game. And now I can't find where I pressed
a win.
Can Henderson play, or is that still the rule? You can't have Man United players because that changed, didn't it?
He can't play.
He can't play. Yeah.
He's on loan. Yeah, he ain't going to play. Yeah, so no problem. But again, once again, thank you, everyone in the comments. You've been absolutely great. You guys here, as well as the guests, have been great with your comments and your views on everything. Very different views. I love it. And as long as we can all obviously stay happy. And hey, we got some things to talk about later. Though we got some debates coming up next week and the week after. So yeah, it's gonna be lovely. But until then, guys, peace out.
Yeah.